Good morning. It's Wednesday, the 22nd of December, and finally, Richard has caught the southeast. He's on his way to Salvador, and conditions are looking good out there. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to let you peek behind the curtain a little bit and see what the shore crew is up to, and how we're keeping in touch with Richard, and the weather information and the process we go through. So what you're looking at right now is a live tracker that reports on the hour, most hours. It is relying on satellite coverage, so sometimes it'll go a couple of hours without updating, but it's been pretty good. But that is courtesy of spoortrack.com. Thanks, guys. Really nice of them to be sponsoring this device. It's made a huge difference to us. And if we look at this map, we can see Richard's been all over the place lately, and that isn't because he's been asleep at the wheel. It's been because he's had really light conditions, and actually what wind there has been against him and pushed him around. So I've actually been asking him just to relax and conserve his energy, which he's been doing, and not paddling very much because there's been no point. He would hardly make any progress, and we knew the southeaster was coming, and if we look at the tracker, we can see that's exactly what happened about 3 or 4 hours ago. Suddenly Richard is off in a dead straight line, and the gaps between these markers are getting bigger and bigger, which means he's increasing his speed. This latest fix came out at 5 o'clock this morning. As I record this now, it is 8 o'clock. In fact, it's about 5 minutes to go until I'll be chatting with Richard. And at that point, he was doing 5 Ks an hour, which tells me he's in light southeasters, because we'd like to see that up at kind of 6, 7, even 8 Ks an hour. Sometimes 10 Ks an hour in really strong conditions. But we're off in the right direction. So typically what we're doing is keeping an eye on this all day long. When the fixes come through and it's either 7, 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 p.m. in the evening, we go and grab that position, his latest position, and we put that into our weather prediction software, which is this. I've already put this to this morning's position in, and that's that green dot. And I've got the split screen here because we're actually looking at quite a few different weather models. We typically look at Spire as our main one for deep ocean forecasts, but PWG and PWE are also pretty accurate. And really, if all these models agree, then we're pretty confident in our weather forecast. If they don't agree, well, it's a lottery. What do we choose? But that's where Richard is sitting right now, and you can see the southeasters that he's got. According to this, it's about 15 knots of southeast. And this purple area here is a low pressure area, which has been hovering over Richard now for almost 4 days, which has had him trapped. But finally, it's moving off, and Richard is on the go. Now, if we scroll the slider, we can advance in time. Richard will be moving northwest, typically, not standing still like he is here. But we can see that there's just getting more and more wind. This is this evening. He's going to have 20 knots of wind, probably gusting 25. And as we scroll through, he'll be moving north. And we can see the southeast for days here at the moment, southeast, southeast. And both models left and right of the screen are agreeing. So that's great. We have got there on Monday, it shows the winds have turned against him. That won't actually be the case because Richard will be very well north of this position by then. So how do we actually forecast where Richard will be in the future and what it'll look like? Well, we have a very nice little tool that does that for us. So on the map here this morning, what you're seeing is his current position this morning and where I'd like him to be headed to. So I've set that course. And then we do some fancy calculations, which I'll get going now because they take a while. But essentially, we've inputted the performance of Osiyeza already. We know how fast Osiyeza goes in different conditions. And for example, if it's going into the wind, she does not move, 0. But if she's going anywhere across the wind or with the wind, she has a vector, a forward motion. And ideally, we want to go dead downwind. That is when she's performing her best. And as you can see here, the models have forecasted Richard's route based on those performance models and the weather. And what's really nice is each one of these colored lines represents a different weather forecasting model, and they all agree. They're pretty much on top of each other. So we can forecast Richard's route with a high degree of confidence. And now if I scroll this forward, we can actually see the weather change as Richard progresses. So we can see the little boat moving. And the little dots on the other lines just represent what would happen if he was following those courses, and then clustered together, which is great. And you can see southeaster, 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 all fantastic. This is now Christmas Day, coming into Christmas Day. Still southeast, really, really good. And this dot I've set here is pretty much near the Namibian border, more or less. And that's going to be on the 26th, and we've still got southeast going. Obviously, the further into the future we go, the less reliable the forecast is, but this is looking really good. Richard's on the train to Salvador. So we take all this information and we share this with Richard in the mornings now, and again at 7 p.m. in the evening. And we're ready to tell him what the big picture is, what we're generally trying to do from a week perspective, zoomed out. And so far we've been telling him just to relax because this wind has arrived. Now that this wind has arrived, he's going to be in the southeast for days. And then we also tell him what it's going to be like for the next 12 to 18 hours as well. And in this case, the forecast is it's going to be increasing after lunch to about 20 knots. And it's pretty much going to be pegged at 20 to 25 knots for the next 5 days. So rough ride for Rich, but what he actually wants, pushing him in the right direction. So there's a little glimpse behind the scenes of what the shore crew is up to and what we're keeping an eye on and helping Rich get across the ocean. Our job's pretty easy. He's the one out there that's having to get the job done. I hope you found that interesting.